So, I've been thinking a lot about the upcoming Gen 10 games since, Pokemon Day is around the corner. So, it's just been on my mind a lot. And I was thinking about what it would take, like, for these games to be received to critical acclaim from the wider gaming community. Like, what could be done by Game Freak to make sure that these games are liked by not just Pokemon fans, but also by just the wider gaming community. So I think there are a couple key things that if they do achieve, that they could make a big splash and maybe even become a nominee for Game of the Year or something. Like that would be crazy, right? So I think the first big thing that they need to focus on, and they haven't focused on this for a while. I don't think any 3D Pokemon game on the Switch has had a particularly interesting map or world or region. Like, yeah, I think they've really been dropping the ball on just the map and region that we've been playing in. So I really want them for this new game to focus on just nature and having interesting landmarks and canyons, caves, rivers, just interesting parts of the landscape rather than just like a flat lifeless plain, right? And like I think in this game in particular, I really, really, really want them to just focus on how unforgiving and how brutal and devastating and visceral like nature can be, how brutal, devastating the Pokemon world can be. Like, I feel like if they really emphasize that and, you know, just focus in on like the harshness of nature and the harshness of the world that we're in, I think they could really kind of help immerse the player in the game. And yeah, that's one of the big ones. Also, I really think so. Okay, I will say that recently the story and characters I've liked, especially the characters. I've really liked the characters in recent games. You know, they've had really good designs. They've been pretty funny, pretty interesting. So I have been a fan of the characters in recent games, but I just think, and even like the overall outlines of the recent stories from the recent Pokemon games have been pretty good. I just think it's the details. When it comes to story, I think it's the details where they just mess up. I'll give you an example, right? So I've been playing Legend ZA recently, and like I like the overall story. I like the characters. They're goofy, they're funny, but some of the dialogue, some of the dialogue is just so redundant sometimes. It's like they repeat the same thing like 100 times. Sometimes it's just like bad dialogue writing. And I feel like this is like a pretty easy fix because they have the whole story already in their heads, right? Like, just fix up the dialogue. Like, you don't need to remind us every line of dialogue of what we're doing. Like, yes, I know this is a kid's game, but come on, like a little better. Like, it's so like almost disrespectful. So I know maybe I'm coming in hard, but I just think like this is an easy fix. Just write the dialogue better. Also, when it comes to gameplay, I would. So, one thing in Scarlet and Violet DLC that I really liked was the synchro machine. I thought it was super interesting that you could basically control an individual Pokemon and actually control the Pokemon and use the Pokemon in the overworld. I thought that was really cool because it each Pokemon had a distinct way it moved and interacted with the world. So I think there's so much potential to iterate on the Synchro Machine and maybe make it part of the actual main gameplay. Like, because that would just bring out the uniqueness of each Pokemon so much more. And each Pokemon would feel more special and more distinctive, you know? I think there's just such a big opportunity for being able to control your individual Pokemon, at least to a certain degree. I'm not saying that they should get rid of the trainer character. Not at all. There should definitely, you should be controlling the trainer character most of the time. But I just think like if they can maybe that can be the new gimmick. Maybe the new gimmick can be being able to take control of your Pokemon for a short period. I just think being able to express every Pokemon's unique traits would be really interesting. And I think the Synchro Machine are iterating on what they did with the Synchro Machine in Scarlet and Violet could be the answer, possibly. Also, this is gonna be maybe an unpopular opinion. I didn't think it was an unpopular opinion, but from the online forums that I've been on, it seems like it is. But I want them to bring the Legends catching mechanics to the these new games. So I want them to I want to be able to just throw a Pokeball, like see a Pokemon and then just grab a Pokeball and just throw it. You know, I don't want to engage in a turn-based battle every time I want to catch a Pokemon. Just let me whip out a Pokeball and just throw. You know, just like how it is in Legends Arceus and Legends ZA. So that might be unpopular. I've seen people saying that the catching mechanic from Legends should stay in Legends and not come to the traditional new gen games, but I disagree massively. Also, another controversial opinion, turn-based battles. So, I love turn-based battles, and I've played online, like singles, doubles. Like, I love the Pokemon turn-based battles, but I feel like they're not very fun if you're playing against, story level difficulty in Pokemon. They are not fun when with how easy the difficulty usually is in Pokemon. So if they're not gonna make them truly difficult, then I'd rather they just not do turn-based battles. Or maybe they can do a hybrid of turn-based and action-based battles. Because like I said, I love turn-based battles, but it really becomes a slog when, you know, it's when it's too easy. So, and I think when it's too easy, it just becomes just a pain to get through sometimes. So I think I know Pokemon is not going to make the games super difficult. So that's why I think they should just go and make it like ideally like a hybrid between action-based combat and turn-based combat. I think that would be amazing. That's probably not gonna happen, but that would be very interesting to see. And of course, I think this one goes without saying, but they cannot have any performance issues. I don't think I even need to mention that. Like, yeah, if they want the game to succeed outside of the Pokemon fan base, the performance needs to be flawless. It should be flawless. And I know in general, you guys are probably looking at the title of this and being like, that's crazy. Like, Pokemon could never get nominated for like a critically, like an an award, right? But I don't think it's that out of the realm of possibility because I mean, there will be huge momentum uh, by the time these games release, and it's the 30th year anniversary of the franchise, and people's expectations, especially outside of the Pokemon community, are so low that I really think that if they just nail some of these crucial elements, I mean, who knows? Like, I really think they could really make a big splash. So, um, there's probably a lot more things that that I could have talked about, but I think I just wanted to cover, I think, the big points that I personally would like to see. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of things that you would like for the game to have. So could you please drop a comment and let me know what Game Freak could do in Gen 10 so that the games are widely praised. Like, what specific things do you think it would take the for the Gen 10 games to be um, praised in the gaming community as a whole? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe.